We are in fast forward change right now.
COVID hit and it warp speed.
If you are somebody who likes change, it's exciting. It's really scary as hell for a lot of people.
During the summer of 2020, CBNERR Virginia spoke with regional leaders in government, education, and research on the impacts of COVID-19. Their stories and resources are documented on the CBNERR-VA website. Here's a peek at what they said.
Thanks to COVID.
One day we were in the classroom with students, and then the school year was over. There was no transition, there was no closure.
And then all of a sudden, you're teaching in front of a computer all the time instead of being outside. I mean, that's not what you planned for at all. And so
we had to postpone all of our planned spring trainings.
And we basically had to adjust all of those projects to be fully virtual.
Significant projects, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
How do we still collect our data? How do we still get out?
There's a global pandemic and we're putting out temperature loggers. Is this really necessary?
Why are you getting stressed out? You're around your kids, you're at home.
Because I found myself just going meeting. And then emails came in.
Everybody is continuing to show up for their constituents every day, and that takes a lot of energy.
How long do we have to weather this?
And it is changing over time.
On March 12th, Executive Order 51. On April 1st, Executive Order 53, 55, 65, 67, 68. Each one of those put every organization into a whole new planning mode.
Within the first week of us opening to the public, we changed our process like 3 different times.
We think this is going to be a couple weeks. No, this is going to be a couple months. No, this might be a couple years.
It's not fixed. It's a very fluid situation.
It kind of morphs.
One day we're green, one day we're red, and trying to adapt to that has been interesting.
So how do we adjust? How do we adjust on the fly?
On the fly?
On the fly.
On the fly.
On the fly.
On the fly.
Instead of saying what we can't do, we're really focused on the art of the possible.
Not think about how we always used to do something.
Identify what the key research is and make it happen, even if that may look a little different than it used to.
Some folks have small sediment labs in their garages.
It's just that fluid, like you're just going to get the job done and communicate. And there's a lot of trust when people are working towards a common goal. So being goal-oriented is the biggest thing.
Being flexible is just diving in.
So once a week in the morning, they do a training session, and it could be, training on data collection, working record.
We do 5 minutes of best practice every week, and it can be virtual meetings, or it could be just about really anything. Empathy, listening, all of those important skills, life skills.
We all had to learn how to develop videos, what kind of equipment we need. And then we said, okay, now we got to educate ourselves about how we can provide a valuable, meaningful experience online.
I do worry that a percentage of the population won't be able to access it.
Our solution was to identify locations like a school, like a government building, a library, where we knew that they could beam into.
A lot of mine hopped in their car and drove to sit in the public library parking lot or the McDonald's parking lot.
This feels crazy.
And as the longer this goes, you begin to see things through a slightly different lens.
We tried some new things this year because we were forced to, and some of them were really successful.
A lot of the things that we're doing now, we're like, we're going to keep this post-COVID because this actually just works better.
So we're planting seeds. That's a good thing.
We're getting a lot more folks actually attending than we used to because it's online.
And I think that there has been sort of an uptick in adaptability and compassion across our team.
One of the things that I've really learned to try and do better during COVID, and that I hope we all take into the post-COVID world, is just being more kind and compassionate to each other, but then also being kind and compassionate to ourselves.
We're in hurricane season.
So we think primarily in terms of flood.
What's that going to mean, and how does COVID affect that?
Is the idea of school going to be a positive to them?
Certainly there is probably some new research related to COVID.
This is a fascinating kind of experiment that we're living through.